You know why I'm here.
And we are live. But like for real, we're live. This is awesome. It's a good week because the Dolphins won on Sunday in a pretty exciting game. But we'll get to that later. Thanks everybody for being here. I know for the people that will be on the stream, for the people that who are planning to watch and who are gonna watch, this is awesome because we're streaming for the second week live in a row. I got some news for you guys later about future streams and next week's episodes. Oh, with an S, yeah, but we'll get to that later. Right now, let's just cover the NFL. Let's just jump right into it. Oh no, no song. No. Did you hear it?
I can't hear it because it plays through the computer.
Oh, but did they hear it? Oh, no. We just checked all our buttons.
They were working, so can you play it live through here?
This sucks. I wonder who's watching. I bet it's my mom. Hey, Mom. If it's not my mom, hello, person.
No, we're good. Go ahead. It should be playing.
It should be? Is it? Carlos, check the live. You want to hit me with a football? I got you. And let's just wait. Sorry, now we're just waiting.
Yeah, if it's not coming through, then yeah, I don't know what's up. Let's just wait. I just hit it twice.
All right, cool. I guess it's not working. We're just gonna keep it moving. All right, so we're gonna take care of Thursday Night Football. We streamed during Thursday Night Football last week, and Green Bay took care of Trash Can Cisco handedly. They just threw the football all over them. Had no answers for them offensively at all, and the Trash Can Cisco offense had nothing to offer the Green Bay defense. The Green Bay defense, who's been spotty at best, really just dominated, and they haven't dominated all year. So, I'm happy with the way Green Bay played, and San Francisco is going to get a top 10 pick, and I think that's scary for next year, for next year's playoff team. They're going to be a playoff team next year, so with a top 10 pick, that's going to be even better. They're probably going to stack the offense a little bit more. The Falcons beat the Broncos. The Falcons are so bad at tanking. You've got a great, one of the best receivers of all time in Julio Jones, and then you're trying to get rid of your quarterback, or you're trying to phase him out. So you need to lose games, but you're really bad at losing games, but you were really good at losing games before you fired Dan Quinn. Must have been something about Dan Quinn, but whatever. I don't understand what the Falcons are trying to do. I think they're just trying to be like a middle of the pack team, I guess. But they're bad at tanking. The Broncos are the Broncos. They're going to lose games. They're going to win some games, but they're not anything to be worried about, I guess. The Bills forced 4 turnovers to beat Seattle. Russell Wilson fumbled twice, lost both, and he threw 2 interceptions. So that's pretty bad for an MVP candidate to do. This is going to be, for his MVP candidacy, this is going to be the spot on his resume that people go back and be like, what about the Buffalo game? But I think he's going to bounce back. You can have an off game. But, the Bills' defense did what they had to do. Josh Allen had a career game. His grandmother passed away. Rest in peace. My condolences to Josh Allen and his family. But, he played his heart out, and it really paid off because the Bills won an important game, especially in the playoffs. And the way the AFC playoffs are shaking up, they needed to win this game. So we got the Ravens coming to life in the second half to beat Indianapolis. So Indianapolis is playing right now versus Tennessee. They're about to kick off the second half. But Indianapolis played a great first half versus Lamar. But in the second half, the Ravens just proved why they're the better team, why they're the top 5 team, and Indianapolis isn't. The Ravens proved that they can make the adjustments necessary to win big games, and I feel like they needed to win this game after the Pittsburgh loss. And Lamar proved what he had to prove, I think. Didn't have a great game, but he won the game. And that's a good thing to build on for the future. Houston outlasted Jacksonville. I don't know anybody who watched this game. I don't even think people in Jacksonville watched this game. But Houston's only beat Jacksonville. Their 2 wins this season are to Jacksonville, and they've lost to everybody else they've played. Jacksonville won week 1 and has lost since then. I think Jacksonville's going to get the second pick because only the Jets are worse than them, which that's terrible to say about Jacksonville. The Chiefs keep the Panthers off. The Panthers jumped out to a big early lead. I watched it while at work. The Chiefs were able to come back, and then they went up big. And then the Panthers were able to come back, but the Chiefs were able to really show that Super Bowl experience and keep them off. That was a great game to watch. Chiefs did their job, though. The Vikings beat Detroit. I mean, everybody expected the Vikings to beat Detroit, but they're really staying alive in the NFC North. I think that division's still winnable. They proved that they can beat Green Bay, which is the only other team in that division that could win because Chicago's offense is too much of a liability to get them anywhere. Sorry. Tennessee outlasts Chicago. I mean, Tennessee's also working with some flaws. Like I said, they're playing right now versus Indianapolis. They're up 17-13. But Tennessee's playing with some flaws, and Chicago's flaws just outweighed Tennessee's flaws. Tennessee's flaws were on the pass rush and the defense, but Chicago's flaws were on the offensive line and the offense, and you just have like who's worse is better than the other team's worse, and that's Tennessee because they're the better complete team. So that's why I feel like they won that game. And yeah. Tennessee stays alive and hopefully looking for a high AFC seed, trying to get home field advantage. The Giants beat Washington. Apparently they can only beat Washington because this is another case of a bad team only being able to beat a certain other bad team because they play twice a year. So Daniel Jones, just like Deshaun Watson, can only beat Jacksonville. Daniel Jones can only beat Washington, and that's cool. Washington needs to figure it out at the quarterback position. They don't want Dwayne Haskins anymore. They were expected to trade him before the deadline. They didn't. Might trade him in the offseason. I think they're going to look for a quarterback in the draft. But that's a bummer because I feel like Dwayne Haskins has a lot of potential, but I feel like they're just not. He's not the guy that Ron Rivera wants, and that's a shame. Las Vegas holds on to win versus the Chargers. The Chargers were a bobble away from winning a one-possession game. Because I don't think they've won a one-possession game since 2019, like early 2019. I think it's been over a calendar year since the Chargers have won a one-possession game. But nonetheless, Las Vegas holds on. That is the Raiders, of course. And that's that. And here's the game of the week. Game of the year, in my opinion, Miami versus Arizona. You had everything. You had interceptions. You had fumbles. You had defensive touchdowns. You had young, fast, electrifying quarterbacks doing what they do. Oh, that was almost a pick by Phillip Rivers. They're saying he was out of bounds. Is that Malcolm Butler? Wow, that's Malcolm Butler. Congratulations to him. But, yeah, I think Miami versus Arizona is the most complete game of the year. That's going to be one that they talk about all year. I think that's a game of the year candidate. That hurt. That makes my heart feel good because I'm a Dolphins fan, so it's awesome to see Arizona do what they're doing. So the Steelers come back versus Dallas to go 8-0. So they're starting 8-0. That's awesome. But you had to come back versus Dallas, and that's one of the worst teams in the league. So I feel like I can't trust the Steelers. Big Ben is spotty in big spots. They played down to their competition. I can't trust them, but they're 8-0. Congratulations. Give them all the credit in the world. Dallas is still terrible. The Saints absolutely killed the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Like, Tom Brady, I think Tom Brady had 4 interceptions. Could have been 3, possibly 4 interceptions. He looked like he was not having fun. He gets swept by Drew Brees and the Saints this year in the regular season. They're probably not going to win the division anymore because now New Orleans has swept them. So they're going to need a miracle. New Orleans surprised me. I thought that it was going to be the complete opposite, but the defense showed up. The receivers got healthy and showed up. Drew Brees showed up, and Brady still got some work to do. I feel like he's mad every other game. Every other game he's throwing his helmet around and pouting. So they got to figure that out over there. The Patriots and Jets was actually an entertaining game. I said it was going to be a low-scoring, boring game, but it actually came down to the wire. It came down to the last-second field goal by Nick Folk, former Jets kicker, turned Patriot, sinks the Jets to keep the Patriots alive, kind of. They're 3-5, but I guess to keep them unembarrassed. That's the best way to put that. So let's move on. Because of this week's results, we got my top 10 NFL teams. At number 10, we got Las Vegas. I think them barely beating the Chargers was kind of iffy, but I got Las Vegas. At 9, I got Tampa Bay because they're inconsistent at doing everything. Everything they do inconsistent. They only have a couple games where they do everything awesome at once. So there's that. I got Miami because if you gave me a team to bet on, I'd bet on the team who plays harder if it was Miami versus Tampa Bay. And I think Miami plays harder than anybody in football right now. So I got Miami at 8. At 7, I got Tennessee. They're still playing versus the Colts, 17-13. And I'll get an update in a second. 6, I got Buffalo. 5, I got Seattle. I know that's weird because they just played each other, but I still think Seattle's a better team. I think Russ doesn't make that many mistakes ever again, and they're better. I take them 9 out of 10 times. Buffalo got me last Sunday. 4, I got Baltimore because they're just going to keep improving. Lamar Jackson actually came out and said that the other team's defense are calling out their plays, so they're going to make adjustments that really get them going on the offensive side of the ball pretty soon, I would have to imagine. 3, I got Green Bay. Even though their defense is spotty, their offense can still do whatever they want. 2, I got Pittsburgh, the only undefeated team left. But number 1, they had the bad game versus Las Vegas, but they're the best team in the league, and that's by far, is Kansas City. They're the best team in the league. I heard Colin Cowherd, he said it best. They got A+ offense, A+ coach, A- defense. I think they're the best team in the league. Everybody else is good. They're great. Upcoming NFL, we got Week 10 coming up. Indianapolis versus Tennessee is going on right now. I got Tennessee over Indianapolis for sure, even though Indianapolis is on the goal line. Hello. Second and goal on the 3. Tampa Bay versus Carolina. I got Tampa Bay. Houston versus Cleveland. I got Cleveland. Washington versus Detroit. I'm going to take Detroit because I don't trust Washington's quarterback situation. Denver versus Las Vegas, divisional matchup. I got Las Vegas. They're the better team. They make less mistakes, more explosive on the deep end. I'm going to take Las Vegas. San Francisco. Oh, I'm so sorry. I said that wrong. Trash Can Cisco versus New Orleans. I'm going to take New Orleans. Jacksonville versus Green Bay. I'm taking Green Bay. Of course, that's my lock of the week. I got the Giants over Philadelphia. Here's my shocker of the week. So people called me crazy at work today because of what I'm about to say. Pittsburgh's 8-0. Cincinnati's 2-5-1. If I had to bet an undefeated team to lose to a really bad team, it would be this Pittsburgh team because they played down to their competition. And the Bengals are in their games. They're not losing by big margins. Every one of their losses, except for the Baltimore loss, they've been in one-possession games. So Cincinnati has a good chance to win this game because Pittsburgh plays down. Cincinnati... No, Cleveland's not going to lose. Cincinnati's going to do great versus Pittsburgh because that's what they do in big spots. Joe Burrow's already proven it. Or proved it. I apologize. But I got Cincinnati over Pittsburgh. That's controversial, but there it is. Buffalo versus Arizona. I got Arizona. They need a win after the Miami loss. Buffalo, I think, is riding too much of a high right now after the Seattle win. I will take Arizona. Seattle versus the Rams. The Los Angeles Rams. I got Seattle. This is a must-win for them after the Buffalo loss, and the Rams are really inconsistent. Baltimore versus New England. I got Baltimore. Miami versus the Chargers. I'm going to take Miami. They got Van Noy and Wilkins on the COVID-19 reserve list. I do think they're going to come off before Sunday. If they don't, I'm still taking the Miami team with the most heart in the league. We're gonna pressure that injured offensive line. We're gonna get to the young quarterback. He's gonna make mistakes, and then our really experienced, really good corners in that secondary and really good linebackers are gonna make plays for us to win this game. And Tua's gonna play great. That's just that. I got the bye week beating the Jets. So the Jets are gonna lose to nobody because they're really good at losing. I got Minnesota versus Chicago. I'm taking Minnesota. This is a must-win for Minnesota if they want to stay alive in the NFC North, like I was saying earlier. Chicago's offense is a really bad liability. Even though Minnesota's defense is playing spotty, they don't need to play really good versus Chicago's offense. So I think that's going to be a factor, and Minnesota's going to take this pretty handedly. This is a good chance for Kirk Cousins to prove that he's a good quarterback. He's got one of the best young receivers in the league. And he's always made fun of for not winning big games in prime time on Monday nights. This is a good Monday night win for him. He needs this win. I think he's going to come with a fire in his belly. And I'm taking Minnesota 34, Chicago 17 for a total of 51. I don't have the over-under on that, but that's what I think it's going to be. Let's hit up some NBA news. So the Suns are actually looking for CP3 in a trade with Oklahoma City, so we're looking out for that. CP3 might be on the move. Russell Wilson announced today that he wants out of Houston, so he wants to trade. He doesn't want to be in Houston anymore. People think LaMelo, so people in the league, executives, high general managers, think LaMelo is purposely trying to slide to the Knicks at the A spot. So he's supposed to go in the top 3. They think he's tanking interviews and ruining workouts just so he can slide to the Knicks at 8 to keep his marketing value up, I guess is the way they're putting it. The Wolves have already confirmed that they're getting good offers for the number 1 pick. We'll talk about that in the Florida 4-5 later. But the Wolves say that they are getting good offers. I think that's what's going to happen because they don't need the number 1 pick. But, yeah. The NBA announced that their start date for this season will be December 22nd, which gives the Lakers and Heat a 71-day layoff between seasons, which is the shortest in North American sports history. That sucks. But this gets to my point. Next week, the draft is on Wednesday. We're having a special live stream draft episode. We're going to invite Blue. It's my homeboy Blue. We do fantasy basketball every year. We pick up on the drafts. And we actually care about the future of the NBA. So we're going to do a live special. I'm going to announce my mock draft during that live special. Draft starts at 8. I think we'll start the live stream at 7:30. I don't think they're going to start picking players until 9, so that gives us about an hour to run through the mock draft with Blue. And then we're just going to be having a little draft party. That's an awesome announcement for that. I hope you guys tune in for that. That's next Wednesday at 7:30 is the special NBA draft episode. So let's go on to the UFC. UFC Fight Night, Santos versus Teixeira. This was amazing for old school MMA fans. So Santos came on really strong versus Teixeira in the first. Almost got the KO. Teixeira is able to survive another early onslaught. And then is able to grind him on the ground. And eventually gets the submission in the 3rd round. Santos is exhausted. Santos disappointed his performance immediately after he taps. But Teixeira was pretty much solidifies that he's going to get the next 205-pound shot at the title. And he's 45 years old. Santos his last fight is literally a split decision loss to John Jones, the greatest of all time. So this is really bad for Santos in his career. Although I do think he's going to learn from this and get better. But Teixeira should be fighter of the year. Teixeira should at least be in the discussion because what he's done this year is really turn his entire career around for one last push at the title at 45 years old. And that's awesome. That's awesome. Arlovsky coasts to beat Boser. He beat him by decision pretty soundly. No big damage, no big punches, but he definitely outstruck him. Boser disappointed in me. Boner. Bozer disappointed me. I'm so sorry for the children who have to watch this. But Bozer disappointed me. He should change his name. I'm gonna just skip this fight, man. I don't want to talk about it anymore. All right, Giga. His name is Giga. I'm not gonna try to pronounce his last name. Gets an amazing head kick KO. If you can look it up, just look up Giga UFC KO'd head kick knockout. It's awesome. It's a great one. He kicks him in the head, follows up with some strikes. Really technical striker. He got a big win. His career's on the right path. Yan Xiaonan beat Claudia Gadelha. Claudia Gadelha, former challenger at 115, gets a big win versus a former title challenger. Her career's on the right track. She's arguably one more big win away from a title shot, and she's only been in the UFC less than 2 years. So that's awesome. That just goes to show her work ethic, and that's cool. Trevin Giles KO's Bevin Lewis. That's pretty cool because Trevin Giles is a huge prospect. I'm glad that he was able to get his face out there on a bigger card, and I feel like he opened a lot of eyes and opened a lot of doors and for opportunities for himself. Alexander Romanov absolutely dominated for a terribly easy submission. He pieced this guy up on the feet, and then as soon as it hit the mat, it was game over. He absolutely asserted his dominance, punches, elbows, and then he eventually just found his way for that submission, and it was over. Darren Elkins actually dominated his opponent. I said he always puts on exciting fights, and this time he landed a lot of strikes, a lot of punches. He was able to dominate and then eventually grind him out for a third-round rear naked choke. I think that's awesome for Darren Elkins. Congratulations, my man. That was cool to watch. And on to the upcoming UFC fights. We got UFC Felder versus Dos Anjos. So it was supposed to be Islam Makhachev versus Rafael Dos Anjos. Islam Makhachev tests positive for coronavirus. Paul Felder, who last fought Dan Hooker and said it would take something special to get him back in the cage, takes this fight on 5 days' notice. How about this for special? Taking a fight in the middle of a pandemic on 5 days' notice versus a former champ coming back down to the division where he once ruled. Paul Felder has an opportunity to do something amazing because a lot of people are going to tune in for this fight. And Paul Felder is one of the most explosive strikers in the 155-pound division. I think he won versus Dan Hooker, but the New Zealand judges didn't think what I thought, obviously. And Rafael Dos Anjos left 155 for a reason. He was struggling to make the weight. You think when you're older, it's easier to make the weight. I've heard it's like that, but for some people, it's not. This is his first fight at 155. I don't know how his body's going to react to the weight cut. I'm taking Paul Felder in a big way. But we'll get back to that with the Flavorful Five. Abdul Razak Al Hassan is fighting Chaos Williams. They're both really technical power strikers, but Chaos Williams is named perfectly. I don't know if that's his God-given name or if he changed his name, but Chaos Williams has some crazy power, and I think he takes this by first round KO. Julian Marquez versus Saparberg Safarov is interesting because they're both young. Julian's coming off a loss. Saparberg's coming off a win, I think. But Julian Marquez is a really good prospect. I think he's going to he got better from that last loss, and I think he's going to show it in his hands. He's got 5 career knockout wins. I think he's going to show everybody on this bigger card why he should be respected in this division. I think he's going to win by KO. Then we got Eric Anders. Eric Anders used to play football for the University of Alabama. If I'm not mistaken, he won the national championship at Alabama in 2012. He's a great UFC fighter. Transition beautiful, high power athlete. He's really fun to watch. Fighting Antonio Arroyo. I have absolutely no idea who that is. This is going to be a fun fight, but there's something in my gut that tells me that Eric Anders is going to show people because this is a big opportunity night. I can't stress this enough how much of a big opportunity night this is, but I think Eric Anders is really going to step up and show people that he's here. He's not here to play. He's here to win and dominate at 205 pounds. Brendan Allen versus Sean Strickland is a catchweight bout. Catchweight means that there's not a set weight class. Usually, every single UFC fight that's sanctioned has a weight class unless the two fighters can't make a specific weight. Brendan Allen is coming off cutting a lot of weight for the canceled fight with Ian Heinisch, I think. Yeah. And Sean Strickland just won a 3-round decision a couple weeks ago, so he just had to cut a lot of weight. So they're making this a catchweight. I don't know the exact weight they're fighting at, but this should be an awesome fight to watch. Sean Strickland absolutely dominated his last opponent. Brendan Allen is really hungry because he couldn't fight last week when he was supposed to. So this is a fun fight to watch. I think this is going to be fight of the night for sure. It's anybody's fight. I have no idea who's going to win. If I could flip a coin and my gut would tell me who's going to win, that doesn't make any sense, but I would take Brendan Allen. I think he's a hungrier fighter. Sean Strickland's riding a wave right now. I think he's still riding the high from his last fight a couple weeks ago. I got Brendan Allen in probably the fight of the night. So here comes my flavorful 5. I've been holding off on getting excited about certain things, and here's why. The first thing on my flavorful 5 is that the Dolphins' defense is going to score for a third straight game versus the Los Angeles Chargers. They're going to win. And I think the Dolphins' defense is going to score for a third straight game. It's going to be awesome to watch. Hello? I hate you. So this is actually my assistant manager. I've been begging him to watch my podcast. He plays semi-pro football, and he's got his helmet on and no shirt, chest hair out. And he said, I'm on TV, Cletus. We're definitely going to show this to the masses. So hold on. Let me see if I can, there it goes. You can see the ring light. But his name's John Wilkins. We call him Juan because he speaks really good Spanish at work. And thanks. Thanks for calling in during the Flavorful 5. I think you should watch the UFC fights this weekend, and this is why. I hung up on him. Felder is going to get the KO in round 1 versus Dos Anjos. That's number 2 on the Flavorful 5. Number 3, Minnesota, I believe, will trade the number 1 pick in the NBA draft. I don't think they need the number 1 pick. So I think they're going to trade it for a player and a later lottery pick for teams looking to move up like the Pistons and the Knicks just to get like LaMelo or James Wiseman, Anthony Edwards, which are the big 3 names in the draft this year. Number 4, Cincinnati's upsetting Pittsburgh on Joe Burrow's shoulders. I think Joe Burrow's going to play great. They're going to have an awesome game. But Cincinnati's going to upset Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is going to go. And then Buffalo's going to lose to Arizona in a really high-scoring game. These are 2 of the better offenses. Both teams know how to score a lot of points. But Arizona's going to come out on top because Kyler Murray's upset with his performance last week versus the Dolphins. So now we got our thank yous. Thank you to the Raw DJs as usual. We got Mark and Carlos. Thank you to Brian Flores for your work with the Dolphins. Love everybody. Oh, and thank you, Juan, for making a guest appearance. And boom, 28 minutes. This was a shorter one. That's awesome. And we're going to exit. Woo! And there's no music. I forgot.